Welcome back to Age of Empires 2. Last time we started the Saladin campaign with a fairly easy scenario. This time, things get decidedly less easy. However, I really should not be saying this because last time I did, things ended up not going as well, but I actually did a practice run of this scenario and it turned out to be a lot less difficult than I would have expected. Still no less annoying though, for reasons that you'll certainly be seeing. I'm sure you're all looking forward to my reaction to a certain thing that... Anyway, you'll see. But this actually wasn't so bad in my practice run. Of course, I say that now, and probably that's going to mean this is going to be a total disaster. Anyway, let's begin Lord of Arabia.
The holy city of Medina, year 15 of my capture. Volumes have I filled with my fatigued writings. Lord Saladin reads them only rarely. He speaks of greater events yet to come. The political boundaries in this endless desert have shifted as a result of 3 crusades. 4 Crusader states now exist in the Holy Land. After the Saracen victory in Egypt, the Crusader leaders realized that Saladin was worthy of their concern. They were quick to suggest a treaty. I hoped that with peace at last upon us, I would be returned to my own folk. But this peace, so short-lived, is already broken. And it is not Saracen, but Crusader, that has violated his word of honor. Renaud de Chatillon, a wicked French knight, has been raiding Arab territory in defiance of the treaty. He attacks trade caravans, and his pirate ships threaten the Saracen holy cities of Medina and Mecca. Saladin, in his fury, has sworn to kill Renaud with his own hands.
I will just mention, I love how that map just feels the need to mark a single pirate ship on it. It's like, pirate ship! Anyway, yeah, it's been 15 years since the last scenario. The historical nature of this game means there'll often be quite a lot of big time skips. But anyway, our mission here is to defeat Renaud's pirates, Renaud's raiders, and do not allow our allies of Aqaba and Medina to be defeated. Yes, it's a glorified escort mission, except this time we're actually protecting entire towns rather than specific units. Joy! The Saracen capital can spare little to get you started. You must develop your own base and army. In other words, the training wheels are now off. We are no longer starting with a massive army, we have to build up ourselves. And that's probably the main challenge of this scenario. Keep your allies' trade routes open and they will reward you. And assign units to guard allied trade cards. Now these two are part of the reason why this scenario is absolutely infamous among the fandom of this game. You'll see why the moment I click the OK button. But anyway, the main reason you want to keep your allies' trade routes open is not for the rewards they give you, because the rewards they give you is actually pretty pathetic. No, it's for the fact that they'll stop complaining. You'll see why in a moment. Anyway, so, the scenario described Renaud as a wicked French knight. Now, you might think this is just a historical villain upgrade. Actually, not so much. You see, the real Renaud de Chatillon, or however his name is pronounced, he was a complete and total bastard, to put it mildly. In fact, he was so bad that his depiction in this game is arguably quite tame compared to how he was in real life. Yeah. Actually, something that this thing skips over, earlier on, he'd actually defeated Saladin in a major battle, and after that, the treaty was signed, but he broke the treaty by sending pirate ships through the Red Sea. Yes, this all really happened. All of the scenarios in this game are based off real historical things for the most part. So, anyway, you might notice that I'm stalling here. I'm kind of putting off clicking the OK button because I know what's going to happen. Oh, pain. Oh, this is going to be so annoying.
Help us! Crusader bandits are everywhere!
Okay, you cannot save that trade card at all. Don't try. And we're going to lose that outpost
We
too.
must stop these arrogant Crusader attacks on our peaceful communities.
Okay, now the first thing you want to do in this scenario is research cartography immediately. This is going to be a huge help. You'll see just how much of the map this ends up revealing, given that our allies already start with pretty large settlements. We also want to set some villages to collecting food right now, and eventually wood and gold. We only have one villager per resource at this point, which is really not good. Now we want to explore up a little bit. Notice how there's a lot of deer here. Yeah, this is going to be our main food source for a while when we run out of forage bushes. There are also a lot of free sheep on this map, if you can get them. We'll be seeing that once we research cartography. See? Look how much of the map that just revealed. We have allied towers all down the coast. This will be a huge help. We also have 2 allied cities. This is Aqaba. It has a free gap in its walls right there, but it generally rarely gets attacked that much. We also have Medina. Now, Medina has no walls and is completely open and vulnerable, so you'll probably want to try and protect it as soon as you can. Now, you might also notice they have a whole lot of sheep, but no villages. That means we can go send one of our guys to go and claim some free sheep for us. Yay! Leeching off our own allies. Believe me, they deserve it. See how we have a trade card here. Our allies are going to be sending trade cards back and forth. Unfortunately, Renaud has a whole lot of troops attacking them, and you'll probably be unable to defend them at this point. But the most annoying thing about our allies and their trade routes is, well, the other cool thing about researching cartography is, our allies are actually sending ships down the Red Sea. They will pretty much explore the entire ocean for us. So, really, yep, and we got some sheep. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if we can grab some more. Gotta be careful when moving sheep, because even our allies can steal them back if we're not careful. And there's a whole lot of enemies over here in this desert. Basically, the main gimmick of this scenario, the really annoying gimmick of this scenario, is that our allies are constantly sending trade carts back and forth between their own settlements. Unfortunately, Renaud's bandits just love to loot trade caravans, and they did in real life too. Now, as you can see, we've actually got 3 enemies to deal with. Renaud's pirates are the blue side. They attack from the sea. They are easily our toughest opponent, but we can pretty much ignore them for this point, since they're separated from us by a large ocean. Renaud's raiders are the main concern. As you can see there, that is their base. We should probably take that out as soon as possible, but we'll need to build up quite a big army before we're able to do so, and definitely advance the Castle Age. Renaud's bandits are just a bunch of red guys. They actually don't have a base, like, at all. So, they're kind of... Let's see if these sheep are... I really hope none of these sheep got stolen. Anyway. Now, Renaud's bandits actually doing a camp down here and a camp up here, but they don't actually have any unit production facilities or bases at all. So... And... houses, great. Yeah, this mission, I could pretty much accurately describe this as, the Magikarp mission of this game. Basically, the way our base starts, it's incredibly pathetic, and we have very, very little in the way of an army or any kind of troops. And crap. Okay, yeah, they've just... Our sheep have found an enemy camp. Hopefully, they don't get converted over to the enemy side. Oh, see, yep, they're still chasing trade carts. And our allies haven't done the thing they're most famous for yet. Okay. You there. Oh wow, they're actually in our allies' town. I can probably take that guy out with 1 light cavalry, so let's do that. Okay, good. Now, I'm probably not strong enough to take the sheep from here yet, because there are a lot of enemies around this area. Generally speaking, we want to focus on economy first. And, hello you guys, you have run out of food, which means your job now is to build a mill right here, and then just we've got a lot of deer and a lot of sheep. We're pretty much set when it comes to food for quite some time. Okay, good. Our houses are going up. We're getting more villagers chopping wood. That is excellent, but we want more on food duty so we can get more on gold mining. And there's a skirmisher in this space. Now, the thing is, our enemies, they're kind of tough when it comes to taking out trade carts. They're actually...
Help! Crusaders are attacking our trade routes!
Yep, it begins! That right there is the main reason why this scenario is so infamous. Your allies will constantly nag you about Crusaders attacking their trade routes. And believe me, I've had them continue even when their trade routes are perfectly safe. You will learn to absolutely despise these guys, your own allies, as this scenario goes on. Oh, they are seriously like, they're worse than Navi, let's just say, in terms of annoying video game characters who keep saying the same things. Oh, a galley. Well, this thing should go down pretty fast, because galleys aren't particularly good against towers. Yep, the scouts over here on the water have discovered an enemy dock. Now, we don't really need to worry about this until a bit later, but okay, we've got a good wood source coming. Let's go and get some more villagers on gold mining duty. Now, one interesting thing about this map is that gold is actually very plentiful here. You really actually don't need... Basically, if you keep your allies' trade routes open, they will periodically send shipments of gold to you. But it's actually not all that much, and really, you don't really need it. There is a lot of gold on this map. As you can see, there's gold here, gold here, gold on this little island here. There's gold everywhere. Not just that, but we can actually trade with our allies too. And in fact, for some weird reason, our trade cards, if we can produce some, are actually a lot smarter than our allies' trade cards. They actually take a route that doesn't...
Our caravan.
Shut up! Anyway. Like, I know it seems heartless of me, but at this point, it is probably best to ignore the allied caravans. They're not critical to your victory at all. All you need to do is make sure that your allies don't get destroyed, and really, that is not going to happen unless you let Reynolds' raiders build up to the point where they start spamming battering rams, and hopefully we're not going to let that happen. So, we've got some food coming in with those sheep. We can go ahead and research that to speed our mining along, and once we get more food, we can research these to speed our wood chopping along. So, this really is... Yeah, you want to focus on your economy early, basically, and I think we're going to need more food gatherers. We've almost got through all these sheep, actually, so... See, the thing is, I don't want to commit myself up here yet, because, yeah, the good thing is our allies have pretty much explored... Like, look how much of the ocean they've explored for us in such a short amount of time. The computer is extremely good at exploring, so that's why it's a good idea to research cartography in any maps where you have computer allies. Because... Again, ignoring that trade cart there. Because, well... They are much better at exploring than the average human player is, so... Yeah. Anyway. Okay, that is kind of annoying. I might want to take out that guy. Now, hopefully, this trade cart here is going to be smarter is going to be as smart as he was during the initial practice run I did of this, where he actually took a route through here that did not involve going straight through enemy territory. And there is enemy territory there, but other than that... Yes, we haven't seen trading with allies since the tutorial campaign, but it's a pretty nice way to make some gold. This will give us 25 gold per pass, and you can also trade by sea, but our allies don't have any docks. And our enemies do, but, you know, you'd have to be an idiot to trade with enemy docks. Like, you can do it, but your trade units are almost certainly going to die. Especially since we're going up against notorious trade cart pillager, Reynolds de Chalion. Yeah. Okay, these guys are pretty much totally blockaded Aqaba to the point where no trade carts are going to get out of there. I honestly do not care very much at this point. It's...
Crusaders are attacking our trade route!
You're not helping! I'd be more inclined to help you if you would just shut up every once in a while. Anyway, once we're done with the sheep, we can then proceed on to deer. I'm not really sure if deer even lived in the deserts of Arabia, but anyway. You'll notice again that our trade card is taking actually a much smarter route here. So yeah, and you'll notice that we already have lots of gold. Yeah, there is absolutely no shortage of gold in this mission, so yeah, it's really the other resources that you have to worry about. Now, the good news is also that you start with a market right off the bat, which means that because gold is so plentiful, it's quite easy to buy the other resources that you need. So, it's actually kind of nice. Like, once you get a good economy going, this scenario is not that bad. Again, it's sort of like the Magikarp scenario. You start off pretty weak, and you get a lot better. Soon, once our economy is fully established, might want to put a couple more villages on food because, really... So this is the annoying thing about setting gather points with a building that can attack, like a castle or a town centre, is that, well, if you right-click on an attackable target, it'll interpret it as an order to attack, and of course the building can't do that because it's got only 6 range, and that's far more than 6 over there. Also, you might be wondering about stone. Now, the thing is, while gold is plentiful here, stone is actually kind of hard to find. The best stone source, I feel, right off the bat, is here. We don't actually need stone just yet, though. Not until we really hit the Castle Age. Speaking of Castle Age, this is another one of those annoying missions where you're kind of restricted to the Castle Age. And your allies are... not your allies. Well, actually, your allies, I think, are. But your enemies, I should mention, are capable of advancing to the Imperial Age. Yeah, that is extremely annoying. Hi, trade cart that's about to die in a few seconds. Now, yes, the sheep will just stand here, so once we've dealt with those enemies, we can pretty much just take those sheep for ourselves. I think it's about time that we start on some unit production facilities. Now, normally I would say to put them up here, because this is closer to the enemy base. However, we actually do need to defend ourselves against Reynald's pirates. Now, I am going to go ahead and get a stable first, because with the Saracens, cavalry units are definitely your main thing, kind of like the Franks, but we also want an archery range. And speaking of that, I should probably mention... Oh, hi, enemy archer. These towns are probably pretty much safe. I'll talk about the enemies a little bit later, but first, I promised I'd explain the Saracen tech tree now, and I guess I should. They're described as a camel and naval civilization. That sounds pretty interesting. But basically, yes, they've got here, market trade costs only 5%. This is pretty good here because you already start with a market and you've got a lot of gold to trade for resources. You see, normally when you buy or sell resources at the market, you lose 30% of the resources. 30%. With the Saracens, it's only 5%. That's a pretty huge decrease, and it makes their markets pretty useful. Now, this thing is pretty useful, especially later on in this scenario when we need to cross the sea. Transport ships have double hit points and double carry capacity. This is really useful. The Saracens essentially have the best transport ships in the game. They carry twice as many units, and they're twice as durable. So effectively, you only need half as many resources to transport armies across water with the Saracens as you do across other armies, because they can essentially transport things in half as many ships. So that's pretty useful. It saves you on resources and the like. Now, this is also going to be useful. Galleys attack 20% faster. Once we go on the offense with naval units later on in the scenario, this is going to be very, very helpful. Cavalry Archers have +3 attack versus buildings. This is pretty useful too, and it makes Cavalry Archers essentially very good at fast hit-and-run raids on enemy towns. It's quite a nice bonus. Their unique unit is the Mameluke, which I'll explain a bit later on. Their unique technology, and we didn't really use the Frankish unique technology because it wasn't really all that useful. But the Saracen one is definitely useful because it improves their 2 mainstay units. Camels and Mamelukes have +30 hit points. This actually does stack with a stable technology that increases their hit points already, so this makes their camels pretty strong. The team bonus is foot archers +1 attack versus buildings, so they're big on archers getting attack against buildings. The Saracens have access to everything from the archery range, including the technologies Thumb Ring and Parthian tactics. These are very, very good technologies that usually are not available to European civilizations. It's generally just Middle Eastern and Asian civilizations that get them, and they're very useful, as you'll be seeing in a little bit. But the main unit we want out of here is Cavalry Archers. These things are awesome, as you'll be seeing later. They're a little bit weaker in the barracks because they don't get halberdiers, but, well, before the expansion pack, they had everything from the barracks, actually. They get both the technologies, and again, ignore not getting Eagle Warriors because no non-American civilizations get those. Now the stable is particularly interesting here. They have the full scout cavalry lines, they go all the way up to hussars. They also have husbandry, which makes their cavalry faster, and bloodlines, which we haven't seen before because the Franks didn't get it. This gives mounted units plus 20 hit points, like I said before. Now, the reason the Franks didn't get this was because their innate civilization bonuses are already better than bloodlines, so they didn't need it. The Saracens, though, will really like this, mainly because it actually stacks with their unique technology, so very nice there. They get both camels. Now, that is the main benefit here. Their camels are extremely good against knights, which we'll be facing a lot of. But speaking of knights, this is the Saracens' main weakness. Main downside, weakness, whatever. They get knights, they don't get anything higher. No cavaliers, no paladins. Now, very few civilizations actually get paladins, but the fact that the Saracens don't even get cavaliers means their heavy cavalry is a lot weaker. And that leaves them, a little bit weaker in the anti-infantry department. The Saracens are excellent against civilizations that rely on cavalry, like the Franks that we'll be facing a lot in this one. Their own heavy cavalry is very weak though. So, generally speaking, the Saracens need to rely on cavalry archers to deal with enemy infantry, rather than, And they can take out enemy archers and siege weapons with light cavalry. So they're more of a faster, speedier, but more fragile cavalry civilization. They're pretty weak in the heavy cavalry department. At the dock, they get everything except for the fast fire ship and the shipwright upgrade. Not that we're going to be seeing anything past the castle age, but anyway. Careening and dry dock, in particular, are of special use to the Saracens, because they increase the capacity of transport ships. Now, I'm actually not sure whether that they get the benefits of those doubles. I'll have to look that up, but they might. Anyway, they get keeps, which makes them a bit better than the Franks in the defense department, but they do not get bombard towers. Those are kind of rare. They get everything from the monastery. This is pretty major, actually. The Saracens have very good monks, considering that they get every single upgrade from the monastery. So they're pretty good there. At the castle, again, no sappers, but they get the Mameluke. The Mameluke I will be talking about later, because they really should form the mainstay of a Saracen army. These things are some of the strongest unique units in the game, when used properly. Everything from the town centre, everything from the siege workshop, so they're quite good in the siege department, except for Heavy Scorpion. And they get bombard cannons, which is cool. Everything out of the Blacksmith, that's nice. They lose a couple of university technologies. Heated shot is actually really going to be annoying, the lack of that in this scenario, because it causes towers to do a lot more damage to ships. And that would be really, really, really useful in a scenario like this where you have to defend against sea raids, but unfortunately we don't get that. No stone shaft mining, no crop rotation. But, now here's the interesting thing. No guilds. The thing is, this reduces the trading fee from 30% to 15%. The Saracens already have it reduced to 5% on their own, so they essentially have an even better version of guilds permanently active, at no cost. So basically, they don't get guilds, it's because they don't need it. It's kind of like the Franks with the farm technologies and husbandry. But anyway, that was a lot of explaining, but basically, suffice to say, the Saracens are a mostly light cavalry-based civilization, and I'm going to have to go over to farming pretty soon, actually. These deer are kind of dying now. Oh, that's another... Those things look green on my map sometimes. Okay, that's built. We now need an archery range. Now, we'll probably also want to build a blacksmith while we still can, because remember, the blacksmith is a prerequisite for the siege workshop. So, in scenarios where you don't start with a blacksmith, you will probably need to build one. Notice our gold, we have a lot of gold. We get gold pretty quickly in this scenario. Now, the stable is almost completely useless in the feudal age. We're going to want to advance in age as quickly as possible because, yeah, stable is kind of pathetic at this point. We can get a couple of scout cavalry, but at this point, it's probably best to save our food for advancing to the castle age. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Just because I want to age up as fast as possible, I'm going to buy 2 lots of food. It's not like I really have any lack of gold, and advance right now.
He's attacking our caravan.
Shut up! You were on gold mining, weren't you? Okay, once we get to the castle age, though, we will most likely want to get some stone. Because I feel the best way to protect our allies' trade routes is to build a castle right smack dab in the middle of the trade route. That's the way I've always done things, and it tends to work pretty well.
Help! Crusaders are attacking our trade routes!
Trust me, by the time this scenario is over, you will wish you could destroy your allies' towns yourself. So annoying! Anyway, maybe in preparation for them getting better, let's get a couple of scout cavalry. We probably want to... Who the heck is that? It was a skirmisher. Right, I should probably mention this. Reynolds raiders like to mostly use archers and skirmishers, and later, and a couple of knights, but not a lot. Later on, they but mostly archers and skirmishers, which both are units that die very, very quickly to cavalry, especially fast cavalry like the Saracens specialize in, sorry. So, these guys are actually pretty weak for the most part. They can advance in age, but they're really not going to be that much of a threat. The real threat is down here, Reynolds Pirates. We won't be taking them out for quite some time. Come on, Castle Age. Come on, Castle Age, and I can get some sweet, sweet Cavalry Archers, which are awesome, as you'll be seeing here. Now, basically, yeah, the cool thing about... Well, I'll talk about them once we actually get into that age, but we'll need a lot of food because, yeah, soon we'll have to go to farming, but not quite just yet. What did you guys... That is weird pathfinding on you villagers there. Okay, we're now in the Castle Age, and that means Cavalry Archers! Okay, the cool thing about Cavalry Archers is they only cost wood and gold, so they're actually not very intensive on food, so they're actually relatively cheap to create and pretty useful too. Now we also have Camels and the ability to upgrade our Scout Cavalry to Light Cavalry, which we'll probably do soon because Scout Cavalry are pretty useless on their own, as you can see. Yeah, that HP is terrible, but anyway. And soon we will be on our way to getting some Camels. Unfortunately, we cannot upgrade to Heavy Camels because, yeah, we're restricted to the Castle Age, annoyingly. And we can also we can basically research Caravan to make our trade carts move faster, which basically means that we get gold faster. Not really that imperative at this point, much like gold shaft mining, and they have run out of deer. You've run out of deer too. So, farm time! Main reason why I wasn't too worried about overcrowding the area around my town centre is I'm going to be basing most of my farms down in this area. Now, this area is actually less defensible and relatively easy to attack for the enemy, as you'll be seeing a bit later. But it's alright, I probably built way too many farms, but I don't care, really. But soon I'll have to start up the reseed farm queue. Also probably want to research horse collar just to make the farms more productive. But anyway, farms are going up, and, well, we are getting food in at a good pace, actually. We can actually make wood chopping even faster by researching bowsaw, and considering that we're going to be relying on a lot of cavalry archers. Hi, enemy scout cavalry! You are going to die horribly in a few... Where'd he go? That's weird. Okay, let's see. We have 3 farms there that we didn't... Oh, we can research heavy plow already, which I'm going to do. Oh, there he is, and he's gonna die very fast. Unfortunately, Cavalry Archers are not the best against Scout Cavalry because they tend to miss quite often. 1 HP, come on! And dead. Yeah, there we go. guys are going to go up there, and now I need more camels. And not enough food. See, the good thing about having Cavalry Archers not costing food.
For the war effort.
Cavalry Archers, yeah, pretty decently strong at this point, so I am going to eventually send these guys up around here just to kind of patrol this area. Hopefully they should be enough. Okay, handcart will also be very helpful to increase our villager productivity. So basically this is more the just boring building up part of the scenario. Things will get more interesting pretty soon.
Help! Crusaders are attacking our trade route!
And I'm more interested with the fact that Reynolds' pirates have advanced to the Imperial Age. Yeah, that is very, very annoying. They will do that given the chance, and there's not much you can do to stop them, really, because they are so heavily built up, there is no way you can attack them at this point. Now, here's something. They might eventually be sending guys over the sea to raid us. Now, you might think that building a navy to fend them off would be a good idea. The thing is, I like to not do that just yet. I like to focus more on one enemy first. Once we've taken these guys out, then I like to build a dock and focus on navy. I'll really show that later, but let's just... Now, what I'm going to do now is... Oh, houses, okay. You there. Just deposit your wood there and start building us some more houses. Yeah, now a castle would be pretty cool right about now because castles provide extra population anyway. But for the time being, let's create a whole bunch of villages that we can't support just yet. 5 should be enough, and they're going to go over here and mine some stone because we need a castle and soon. Because now that we're in the castle age, we really want to focus on those Mamelukes. And also, we will probably want to we'll research those later. Those are going to be helpful, but for the time being... Oh, we also need a blacksmith, actually. You know what? The villagers over here are going to build me a blacksmith once they're finished with a mining camp. So, just so we don't get too bored, let's send these guys up here to see if there are any enemies. Let's see now. Okay, there's a skirmisher there. Skirmishers, again, are anti-archer troops, so they're not particularly very good against... Shut up! Particularly very good against cavalry. Archers are not very good against cavalry either. Yeah, as you can see, Reynolds Raiders tend to fall pretty quickly to cavalry, and that's kind of what the Saracens specialize in. In a way, it's kind of a semi-tutorial on... Okay, there you go. You're going to build a mining camp now. Yeah, they will periodically send troops to attack us, but they're not going to get very far. Now, there are some knights, but our camels can make short work of them very, very quickly. Skirmishers are pretty good at defending against cavalry archers, but regular cavalry pretty much make a good mess of them, so... We do want to stay away from the towers, though, in Reynolds' base, because we're not quite ready to take those on just yet. But our army's shaping up pretty nicely. So, let's see what we can do here. More of that. We will want to get Thumb Ring eventually, but for now I think Husbandry and Bloodlines are better. I always kind of confuse those two, since the names of those technologies basically mean the same thing. Yeah, basically, yes. Bloodlines is better HP on Cavalry, Husbandry is better Oh yeah, of course, when I take my troops away from that area, it gets raided. Obviously. Yeah. For some reason, the enemy has this tendency to focus mostly on outposts. I don't know why, but I guess they're thinking it's going to cut down our line of sight, but to be honest, line of sight is really not my main concern here. Good, and stay out. There is actually a second gate into Reynolds Raiders' main base, and I want to look for that soon so we can kind of stop any enemies trying to get out there. Hi, Archer!
This is all we can spare.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time we've got a tribute from our allies. It's actually not that much, especially since, look, I really am not really pressed for gold at all at this point, so, You, who are idle, you are going to go ahead and build me a blacksmith, because I'm going to need that in a few minutes. Because soon we'll need siege units.
Help! Crusaders are attacking trade routes!
See, I don't even know if their trade routes are even being attacked. Often they do that, just... Hello, battering ram! Well, that came out of nowhere. Oh, and I forgot to put the reseed farm queue up. Is that thing seriously ramming our farm? Wow! As if that's your main concern. Seriously, anyone with even half a brain would much rather, See, look, we can just replant them. Ugh. And we've got more farms as well. See, even if the battering ram takes them out, it just causes them to be, But at least we do know that... Don't go in there! Ugh. So they have a siege workshop there. We want to take that out as soon as we can, but for the time being, we're not quite strong enough for that. Ugh. Do not like the fact that they're starting to get rams, but that could be a threat to our allies' towns. But eventually, we will have enough. I definitely want to research this to make mining stone faster. Yeah, get that. And do we? Yes, we have handcart. Right then, let's see. Now, we have much more of capacity for units, but we want to save some for battering rams, some for Mamelukes, and some for ships. So I might want to hold off just now, but I may... Yeah, to be honest, like, camels almost serve the role of light cavalry for the Saracens. Well, when they're upgraded to heavy camels, that is. At this point, light cavalry are still useful because we can't actually upgrade our camels, and camels have pretty pathetic attack versus anything that is not cavalry. They still kind of make a mess of archers, though, simply because archers are so fragile. Okay, we're almost mined out the gold, so soon we'll have to move over to this area. We're not the Franks anymore, so castles are quite a bit more expensive. We'll also probably want to research these when we get the chance, just to improve our army a bit. Trust me, every improvement will make a difference because we're restricted to the Castle Age, and our enemies can go to the Imperial Age. What? Okay, that is weird. Right then, let's take a small group of troops. Two completely idle lumberjacks that somehow made their way across the sea? Well, that's very odd. I'm kind of going to want to kill them at this point because I really don't want them building anything in my area, but still. And we have enough for a castle, so all of you immediately stop stone mining. You can start again later. And up here, now, this is my favourite way of defending the trade routes. Castle, smack dab in the middle of the trade route. Right about here. And I want to guard the construction site just to make sure that Reynolds Raiders don't try anything annoying. By the time this castle is up, we'll pretty much never need to worry about attacks from this part of the map again. So that should be pretty helpful to us. See, they've only got scout cavalry. They're really no threat at all, for the most part. They're only slightly scary early on. Really, the only thing they're good at is attacking trade routes. Getting thumb ring now. What do we got here? An archer. And another archer. And another archer. See, those towers are the only thing that's remotely threatening to us, and, hello, Archer. Goodbye, Archer. That was extremely fast. Yeah! Reynolds Raiders
our caravan!
attack caravans. They also do not like archers at all. They really, really don't like archers. Uh-oh, transport ship. Okay, that thing did not look like it was carrying anything, though. But just to be safe, these guys are going to go ahead and scout the coast, because sometimes Reynolds pirates send cavaliers over this side. And that's why...
Crusaders are attacking our trade routes!
Are they even... They don't even have any trade carts! You guys are just lying to me to get me to give you favors. Although, to be honest, I would kind of like to just get those guys away from our allies, so I'm going to just go there. Once this castle is up, the castle can pretty much handle anything from this angle pretty much on its own. And castle up. Now, what I also like to do is I like to build my siege workshop here too. Okay, there's a lot more enemies than usual here, but lots of sheep as well. You guys take him out. Now, Reynolds bandits actually have a small camp up here. I wonder if I can actually take that out. You guys, sheeps, are going to go down here. And, okay, that's ready. Siege Workshop is ready. You guys can go back and mine stone again. And now, it is time for the awesomeness that is Mamelukes. Reynolds, up! That's why you gotta be careful. You guys, immediately stop. Back. I'm probably gonna have to rebuild that. And these are considerably upgraded too, so... More Mamelukes, probably want at least 10. These things are actually really awesome. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and build myself as many battering rams as I can, but I'm gonna set the gather point on the siege workshop itself, so the battering rams actually emerge inside the siege workshop, and so they're kind of protected. Uh-oh. Oh, those are mostly sheep. See, okay, now the nice thing about Reynolds Pirates is, they like to focus on outposts first, before other things. Of course, they're probably going to attack here next. Okay, and they're going to start. Yeah, they're going to go straight for this outpost, aren't they? Like, they honestly have a weird vendetta against outposts, but hopefully my camels are going to be able to take them out. Like, really, I don't need those outposts at all. I mean, the lumber camp is kind of a sad loss, but you can rebuild that lumber, but we can always rebuild the lumber camp. Okay, yeah. Now, upgraded cavaliers are actually still somewhat dangerous to our units. Camels can take them out, but they do run the risk of taking quite a bit of damage. And threats neutralized. You are not doing anything. So, build the lumber camp again, and the soundtrack seems to have looped around again. Am I one wood short, really? Please tell me I'm not one wood short, because that would be insanely embarrassing. I am one wood short, aren't I? Yes, I am. There we go. Okay, good. Now, you aren't doing anything. You go chop wood. And I'll just wait until you are not doing anything either, so you go chop wood. And you guys... I lost quite a lot of them in that attack, actually, but... And those archers are really just... See, basically very little threat here. I mean, Mamelukes are not the best things to use against archers, but the castle is going to be taking these things out in short order. Mamelukes are basically ranged camels, and at that, they do their job very, very well. They have a bit less HP than regular camels at this point, but they're a lot stronger. And having the benefit of being a ranged unit is pretty awesome in that respect. One more battering ram. I'll probably explain a bit about... There are certain buildings that can actually set their gather points on themselves, and that means that units that come out are automatically garrisoned inside. This is actually kind of interesting because normally these buildings would not be able to be garrisoned, and if the units ever leave, they can't actually get back in. Okay, yeah.
Crusaders are attacking!
Shut up! Our only other gold source is there, but it's right next to our allies' town, so it's pretty safe. I'll get some more camels though, because I want to replenish my losses a little bit. Maybe 5, because Mamelukes are pretty much better at this point actually, but camels are a bit more durable. And getting some of these. Sadly, we don't have access to our unique technology in this scenario because that requires the Imperial Age. We're running a little low on wood, actually, but that's from all these rams. But very soon, we should have enough troops to take this base out. So that will be very... Yeah, that was most likely a galleon. They can get fully upgraded galleys, and we can't, which is extremely annoying, but, what the heck, let's research that. Anything we have left to research, like, apart from, I rarely find myself using town patrol. Increasing building line of sight is, I mean, it's mainly good if you're worried about, okay, those guys are down. We will probably want some monks for healing soon too, and some monastery technologies. But let's go ahead and get some better... I was about to say that attack was short, but another thing came out. See, he's only got scout cavalry, just seriously pathetic. Oh great, this music. Actually, you know what, this might be a good time to stop for the moment. So, I think I'll see you next time. And now it's time for Ye Old Fact of the Day. I believe it's pronounced Mamluk, actually. I'm not entirely sure, and I sincerely apologize if I've been horribly butchering the pronunciation of it all this time. But anyway, remember how I said back when I was explaining Throwing Axemen that we'd be seeing a much more useful ranged melee unit later on? Well, this is the one. Mamluks are essentially ranged camels. I haven't actually listed it here because I couldn't even fit it. They have an attack bonus against cavalry like normal camels do, but unlike normal camels, they have a ranged attack by throwing scimitars. And just like Throwing Axemen, in fact I believe they're the only other unit apart from Throwing Axemen that has this, they do melee-typed damage rather than ranged damage, which means their attacks hit based on regular armor rather than pierce armor. But really, the fact that Mameluk's attacks are ranged to begin with is what makes them incredibly useful. Put simply, they're essentially a combination of a camel and a cavalry archer, and they basically have all the strengths of both with very few of the weaknesses. Really, their only main weakness is the fact that they have less HP than regular camels, so those are a lot more durable, and slightly less in the way of armor, especially pierce armor. But other than that, Mamluks are some of the most versatile units in the entire game. They're fast, have a ranged attack, which means they're pretty good against melee infantry, because they can, you know, go in, throw their scimitars at them, and once the infantry start closing with them into melee range, they can just run away. Kind of like what cavalry archers do. And hey, I mean, even pikemen, which are normally really good against camels, you can probably just pepper them with ranged attacks and then retreat when they get into melee range, just like cavalry archers do again. But unlike cavalry archers, they're not hitting on pierce armor, so they're not vulnerable to archer counter units, and they're also pretty strong in terms of a ranged unit as well. Now, their range is kinda short, but it's really not that big a deal considering how powerful they can be. Properly used, Mamluks are easily some of the best units in the game. They're certainly one of the most useful of the unique units, and that's part of the reason why this, yeah, playing as the Saracens is pretty interesting in this campaign. You certainly want to get castles built with the Saracens as soon as possible, just so you can use these, because seriously, you should be using this unit a lot when playing as the Saracens. They are actually debatably one of the best units in the game. In fact, there are some people who may consider them a bit overpowered or even just outright broken. They're actually really good. So, essentially, think of them as basically a combination of a camel and a cavalry archer, and you can't really go wrong. So that's, yeah, really all I have to say. They are offset, though, by quite a demanding gold cost. Their upgrade cost is actually pretty cheap by unique unit standards, though. Yeah, it's actually extremely cheap by unique unit standards, so definitely go for that once you hit the Imperial Age. Again, yes, they're quite gold intensive, so you'll need a lot of gold if you're gonna go for large numbers of them. But anyway, you pretty much can't go wrong with these units. So, now it's time for the history lesson. The Mamluks were slaves trained as warriors by various Arab leaders, particularly because early believers in Islam would not fight each other. Slave warriors got around this ban. The Mamluks were trained and highly motivated. A Mamluk army from Egypt won a rare victory against the Mongols in Syria, turning these barbarian horsemen back from the Nile in North Africa. In time, the Mamluks rose up against their Arab rulers and took control themselves. When Napoleon invaded Egypt in the 18th century, he defeated a Mamluk army at the Battle of the Pyramids.